Very easy. We're going to go into material schedules here. Then here on the top drop down here, you'll see there's a drop down for, when you go in there, you'll see there's for assembly, countertop, doors, drawer box, drawer guides, hinges, molding, pool, rollout, room, and sliding door rail. So the only ones we're going to be working with right now is the assembly, and then we're going to do a door one later as well for your door material schedules. So under assembly, you'll see every single material here. So here on the second drop down, there's a material schedule for every single sheet good. The reason why we do this, a lot of clients, what they do is they have one material schedule and they modify it for the job as they need to. Assign the materials and the hinges and all those types of things as they need it. But doing it this way, especially if you have a group of designers, they can just select the material schedule that they want for the job and they can run it. So you'll also see, for instance, this EGA ST10DR Acapulco. There's another one underneath that ST10DR Acapulco EX. We create two distinct material schedules for every material. So for Acapulco, it gets a standard and an EXP. The reason why we do this is for the exposed interiors. So when you create a new job and you assign your material schedules in your job, you have for your base unit, you get a standard and you get an exposed version. So we add the exposed version of the material schedule onto the exposed section, because once you go into the job and you right click on any cabinet, it gives you the option to tick it for exposed interior, and it automatically swaps over to the exposed material schedule. Yes. So we always have two material schedules for every single material. We're going to create two now as well for the materials that we created now. Correct. So all you need to do is make sure that you're in assembly. The area that you're in here will dictate what material schedule you're going to be creating. So for assembly, that's for your units. Just make sure it says assembly. Doesn't matter what one you selected here. Just go ahead and say new. So mine's bugging out. Now my CV24 has been acting up this morning. There we go. So it's automatically going to create you a new one. It's not going to prompt anything or nothing. You'll just see there on the left, it's going to say name, new assembly, description, new assembly, and everything there is going to say material not assigned. So by name, we can just call this training schedule. Okay. Now you'll see there's another option here at the bottom, upcharge. Yeah. If you have a specific high quality material that you use, you can still set your normal pricing and everything and sell price and such on the material itself. But in this material schedule, if you want to charge them more to use this specific material schedule with its set of materials and legs and runners and all those types of things, you can add an upcharge there. So let's say 20%. Then it's going to add 20% on top of everything used in the materials per job.
So you can go with that design, instead of recosting it, you can do it either per carcass or you upcharge the whole job according.
So no, that we do in the bid sector.
Yeah,
for specific material schedules. Yes. So with this, now you'll see there's a bunch of options here now. So we have banding with, you'll only have exterior edging, interior edging, and do you guys have the wide edging?
Yeah, up to right. 60 millimeter.
Yeah, but do you have the option in your schedule there?
Oh, assembly banding. Yes.
Right, so you have exterior, interior, wide edging. Right. Then under case, you'll have exposed and interior.
Correct. Oh, that's the reason why you're doing two different.
Yes, I'm going to show you how we set that up. Under face, you'll have your handleless built edges and your C-sections. That's for your golas. Frame is if you do face frame style constructions. We actually have a few that's doing
Oh,
it
is
now.
it?
Mm.
There are a lot of North Americans out
It's very big in North America. And then under toe, we have our legs, leg levelers, wheels, kick plates, and then structural build-up kick plates. All right. So all of this we need to go and assign a material to now. But the nice thing is, because we know our main material is going to be that training material that we need now, we don't have to take that material now and drag and drop it into every single thing. In essence, cabinet vision works in an up-down view. Everything underneath looks towards something above. So all I need to do is I can go here on the right. That's your catalog for your materials, where we created our materials now. So I'm going to go here under man-made. I'm going to go to my Sheetgood. I'm going to go to training. Then that training 16mm sheet that we created now, this is going to be the material that we're going to assign in this material schedule. So I'm going to click it, hold it in, drag it, and drop it on top of assembly. Then you'll see it changes everything. Now, the nice thing is now we only need to go and change in between what needs to be changed, what is not going to be that material in a construction using this material schedule. So all the parts that's not going to use this are our interior parts, our banding, legs, and all those types of things. So for banding, we can now go and check in our edging training for our 1mm banding that we created.
So banding, we do it on the right hand side.
Yeah, so on the right is your manager for your materials.
Okay.
I'm going to drag and drop that on top of banding.
the 16mm one. Eh?
Yeah, just on top of the banding header. Now you'll see it only changes banding and the 4 and the 3 items underneath banding.
Okay, so I gotta take this now to banding. Interior. We'll just
Just drop it into the banding here.
Just drop it there on top of banding.
And then what changes?
Did you drop it on top of assembly or banding?
I put it onto banding, but let me redo it. So let me do the okay, so let me try to put this in. Okay. And now we go to banding.
Check the training edge, yeah. Drop that on top of banding. You see,
Banding, that's what it changed.
only the banding item changed because it's the only items that's underneath banding.
Exterior aging, interior aging, white aging.
So exterior aging is going to be your colored aging. That's your exterior parts. And then interior is going to be your white aging. So I don't know. We have a white aging saved in Cabinet Vision. I don't know where it is. But if you go here on top, there's a search function. Just search there for WE.
Where on top do you search?
Here on the bar.
Okay.
Then you'll see it's going to bring up a few items. There's one here that says WE 1 by 20mm.
That's good.
That we drag and drop onto interior aging.
Okay.
Why did you designate it that way?
That's white aging.
Ah, okay. All right. So you're using the white box, for example.
Correct. The white interior.
Use the same.
If you want it,
door.
yeah.
you
So
use
no,
exterior.
doors doesn't use this at all. Doors uses a completely different material schedule. It gets its own separate material schedule.
Because you're doing the okay. All right. So
Yeah. In Cabinet Vision, the assembly, the carcass is separate from the doors. The doors is a complete thing. Yeah, it's completely separate.
The matching edging you can do that.
Yes. So you can always just make it exterior edging, your colored, and then interior edging, your white edging, because in the construction method is where you're going to control what part gets what edging. So you're going to say on the adjustable shelf, does it get exterior or interior edging? On all of your parts, it asks you exterior or interior edging. Right. So it's better to keep the white edging there just in case, like for your specific shelves, you wanted to have the same edging as the carcass, if it's maybe a recessed shelf or something. It'll make sense once we get to the construction methods. Yes.
Now that you mentioned it.
All right. So wide edging, if you have a specific wide edging for your 32mm panels or such, you can add it there because that will also be available in your construction method to assign it to those parts for wide edging. All right. So banding done, but now you'll see because our interior edging we changed manually. It got a little tick there.
Okay.
And the banding icon is now red.
Yes.
The reason for that is that's indicating that a part underneath banding is no longer looking towards the top. It's no longer looking towards what the parent is. It's a parent-child relationship. So you don't have to do this now. I just want to show you. But if I now go and I change all of my banding material to a PG edging, it's going to change everything except that one. Because we
Which one?
the white edging
The
that we
white.
changed
Okay, yeah.
because we broke that connection with the banding with the parent. So it's no longer looking towards it. If you want this to look back towards what the header material is, we can just select it, right click, match parent material. Then it changes it back to what the banding is.
So you
Tick
always
gets
put the
removed.
right function to into the properties.
Right. But I don't need that to be this, so I'm just going to change everything back again to white edging, and that one needs to be, not white edging, just remove my filters. I need that there, and then white edging, I need that one there. Right. So my wide edging, if you want to remove a material, for instance, on this material schedule, you don't use wide edging at all. Right click on the item and say there, remove material. Then it says there, material not assigned. So even if you assign wide edging, the parameter wide edging to a part, it won't show edging because there's nothing assigned. Right. So that's banding done. Now we can go to case, exposed and interior. So exposed is going to be our training 60mm color because it's the exposed parts, but our interior we need white. But before we get to that, let's go through the exposed first. So I'm going to have a few items here that you guys aren't going to have. Don't stress too much about it. It's just items that I added. It's like this corridor wall bracket. Don't worry about that one. Just skip it over. On your filler. So fillers, that's going to be an exposed color. So the color is correct. Finished back. It's got 16mm solid back. It's going to be an exposed color. That's correct. Finished left end. That's correct. Finished right end. That's correct. Front skirt. That's correct. Horizontal laminate. That's not correct. So a laminate is that 2 or 3mm laminate piece that you put on the sides. So we don't really do that anymore because if we do use a laminate or such, we just add it onto the material itself. So there, I'm just going to right click, remove material. You guys have this LED function?
No.
You don't have them. Okay, you will later on.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that one.
The next one we have is panel.
Yeah, so you see that I have a duplicate left finished end and right finished end, which you won't have. But I'm going to remove all of that before I give you the backup later. Panel, that's if you add a manually added panel onto your job. I'll show you guys how to do that as well once we get to day 2 training, but that also we can leave as training material. Zinc skirt, we can leave this, that's correct. And skin left and right, that also is not correct, so we can just remove those materials. And then vertical laminate, we can also just remove the material. So all of the parts that we are going to be using always with this material schedule as their materials now assigned for the exposed parts. So exposed, because we changed stuff manually now, gets a tick, gets a tick, gets a tick, exposed shows red. All right, so we can minimize exposed. Interior needs to be white melamine or whatever your interior color is. I don't have to go and take my white melamine now and modify every single one at a time. Just go and search there on top for WMC. Yeah, WMC, that's white melamine chip. It's just our standard white carcass material.
WM.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it. So this we can drag and drop onto interior.
Okay.
And you'll see it changes everything to WMC 60mm. Now we can just go through and change what does not need to be that material. So for instance, adjustable glass shelf is not going to be white melamine. So you can just go and search there on top for glass.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm just going to take the glass 6mm and I'm going to drag and drop it onto adjustable glass shelf.
Okay.
Right. Adjustable shelf is fine. Clipped back support is fine. Divider fine. Drawer stretcher fine. Fixed shelf fine. Floor bottom fine. Gusset fine. Hanging rail.
That's all.
Yes. So in Cabinet Vision, hanging rail is something that we actually added into Cabinet Vision because normally with the hanging rails and such, it gets controlled with the closet module of Cabinet Vision. Yes. We don't use it in South Africa because everything we do with our BICs and walk-ins and such, we do with the cabinet module. But then we did create a way to add your hanging rails. I'll explain to you now when it's back is a bit of a tricky one. It's all good.
So today's training.
Time usually flies with training, but we'll still get done. Today's training is not difficult. It's just a lot of information. Now, Cabinet Vision is amazing, and you actually start seeing what this program can do once you start going into your jobs and you start creating units and customizing the units and such. I've been to lengths where I took a normal standard base unit and built it into a fully working desk with drawers on the sides and the back panel and everything. If you have the knowledge on how to do it, then you can pretty much modify an item into whatever you want, and you can actually build your units from the ground up. Part one.
The parametric function is created
Mhm.
stretching
Yeah, all of the cabinets in Cabinet Vision. So in Cabinet Vision, I think, okay, I'll show you a little bit later because I want to check and just show you quickly how to create a job so you guys can go and play around a bit until we get the next day's training. But the cabinets that get saved in Cabinet Vision, in the library, if you drag and drop, let's say, a 300 wide drawer unit and you stretch it to 600, it's going to stretch everything else accordingly. Everything on the units is intelligent. Correct. The only times it will not do that is if you manually change something on a part in that unit. And then that part won't be intelligent anymore because it's lost its parametric equations. So it's not going to look towards parent-child relationship. It's not going to look towards what the other parts are. It's just locked in the current state that it is. But we're going to cover all of that stuff. Right. So for hanging rail, I'm going to go and search there. Hanging. And the material there, I'm just going to drag and drop onto hanging rail. Right.
So this thing is not charged with a clock. This one was to die. No.
Mine's charging. Maybe plug it straight in there. Yeah, gaming laptops require a big thing.
Yeah.
It's plugged into that.
Good. At least one's working. All right. So horizontal divider, that's fine. Left sub end. You guys know what a sub end is.
No.
So in Cabinet Vision, if you create a carcass unit with just normal unfinished sides, so your unfinished sides is, let me just start over. So on your carcass, if you have two unfinished sides and you add slap-on panels onto the side, you have one here.
So open it this place and this, yeah. So there's a carcass and then the green side is
So
there.
that's your slap-on panel.
Yeah.
Because you have the unfinished side inside of the slap-on panel, that turns into a substitute end. The reason why Cabinet Vision labels it like this is if you have two units next to each other, one has slap-ons and one has just unfinished sides.
Okay,
That doesn't always work the same as an unfinished side.
Yeah.
It might be short, it might be recessed, or it might get edging not on the front, or it might get edging on the front. There's always something that differs there. So as soon as you have an unfinished carcass and you add a flatten, that turns into a side. It's no longer registered as an unfinished. No, there's a few ways to do it. There's slap-on panels. You can either build it into a construction method.
What did it say this?
Oh, you save it as a slap on or such. You can save it as whatever you want. But we would normally,
In the library, is there
yeah, we do have the slap on panels. Slap on panel.
If I've got a BIC with 5 carcasses side by side,
Mm.
each side that's part of each carcass, is that considered a sub?
No, unfinished end. If you have two unfinished carcasses next to each other,
It's only where there's a
slap on
a
panel,
slap on.
an exposed slap on panel on the side. I'll show you guys just a quick reference of that when we're done with this, just to explain it. Let me show you quickly. I'll come back to this. So if I go into my job,
American.
Hmm?
This is American.
No, it's normal.
No,
It's,
Assemblies.
oh, it's
American.
CABINETVISION. Yes, it's an American.
Yeah, because they use different words.
Yeah, the lingo is a little bit different. So I'm just going to drag in.
Because they'll use trash as opposed to what we use.
No, they use garbage. I think when we say trash.
Oh, no, the British the other way.
Okay, so this is. Just give me 1 second. Just need to modify this.
We say refuse.
No, not really, because when you look at the
What's this equivalent?
when you say into the recycled matter, yeah, they call it trash can.
And also rubbish. Yeah. The British-
No, they don't use the word rubbish. Yeah. Only for
I think the Brits use rubbish. Yeah.
So I'm going to have a normal cabinet now. I'm just going to remove my finished ends. So it's just standard unfinished ends. Just standard unfinished ends. So my unfinished end is referenced as unfinished left end.
unfinished.
Left end.
Okay,
So that's my unfinished left, and that's my unfinished right end. But now, as soon as I go and add slap-on panels or exposed finished panels,
yeah, okay.
there's my finished right end. That automatically turns to a right sub end.
Okay, makes sense.
Just because it has that. The reason why is because I can still now go and add a slap-on panel just to the right. So my sub end needs to follow whatever my finished end is, my interior end. But this side,
That
it's
could
still
be like
just
connecting to another carcass.
exactly. So it's still just
Correct.
correct. That's why sub end and unfinished left end always gets separated. Right.
Which in that case is a perfect example because if the minimum level said you want the problem inside.
Correct. And you won't be able to do that if both is a sub end. So that's why you have your unfinished end and your sub end. It's a substitute end.
Makes sense.
Right.
In the British word, decorative.
A decorative panel. Now the lingo is a little bit different in certain aspects. Now, luckily, I've never worked in Afrikaans with that, so where were we? Okay, so I need to get back to my training schedule. All right, so we're currently busy with interior. So left sub end, white melamine, that's fine. Left unfinished side, that's fine. Do you have this left unfinished side?
No.
Okay, so that's another one that I need to remove. Nailer, that's fine. Partition, that's fine. Right sub end, that's fine. Right unfinished side, I need to remove. Shelf, that's fine. Shelf bullnose, that's also going to, you know what the bullnose is. It's the, if you have an angled shelf like for a wine cabinet or such, that little lip that it puts at the bottom.
Or like a shoe rack.
Yes.
Okay.
That's your shelf bullnose. Shelf nailer, that's fine. Top, that's fine. Top back stretcher, fine. Top stretcher, fine. Unfinished back, that's not fine. So your unfinished back is going to be your 3 or your 4 mil mace-like backing. So what we can search for here is, I think it's MDF.
Will you have that in raw or different colors, or depends on how many times of folders you use?
Yes, so we only have an MDF single face white.
Okay.
It'll be the top.
That's fine as long as it's clear.
Sure. Mine came up with a whole lot of MDF options.
So this one's loaded.
Okay, so if I type in MDF 3mm, will that
Search for MDF SFW.
Single face one.
okay.
And then you can just drag and drop that onto your unfinished back. Then we have unfinished left end, that's fine. Unfinished right end, that's fine. Vertical divide is fine. Wall bottom, you won't have that. the wall bottom.
Only the wall bottom.
No, so that's for stuff that we created custom for other people that I just never removed out of my library. So I'm going to delete it later before I give you guys our library. And then web frame as well.
What did you use the wall bottom?
No,
You created a name or something.
I can't remember. It was for something custom for a
So you
client.
deleted it.
Yeah, I'm going to delete all of the extra stuff here before I give you guys the catalog. Then we can go to face. So face is going to be controlling here our goals.
Oh, okay.
So shadow line sections and such. So handle as bolt edge and handle as bolt rail is going to be your wooden build-up goals. So that's fine on the training material. Then your handle as C section and handle as L section is your aluminium frame goals. So I know we know it as a J section, but in America they know it as an L section. So here you can just go and search, or actually just remove that filter with the little cancel search option there. Then you'll see your catalog here at the bottom again. Go under man-made, hardware,
Okay, okay.
then you go to the bottom, there's an option that says Gola.
Okay.
Then you'll see there's a Gola Alu C, Gola Alu J, Gola Alu C. I don't know if you have the black versions as well.
Mine only says Roko and connector.
Open up the Roka,
Sorry, Roko. Yeah. Oh, okay.
then they'll be there. So the C-shaped shadowline Alu Roka, the top one,
Okay.
that we can drag and drop onto the handleless C section.
Okay.
And then the J-shaped shadowline Alu Roka, we can drag and drop onto the L section.
Okay.
Right. The bracket, that's, you can just right click and remove material. Right. That's your golas added. Then we can go to frame. So you guys don't do phrase frame style constructions.
No, we gotta stop because we get some stuff that is in one of the frame.
Right.
But we are
So for this,
Yeah.
here you will now then go and have to go and create a formal material or such that you can use for that. That then
So
gets
we
assigned.
specify it, so that's just-
Yes. Then you go and assign it here under the frame. Right. But for now, we could just leave it as training 16mm sheet because we're not going to be using it. So you can just minimize that. Then we can go to toe. This is now where we're going to add our leg, leg leveler, and our wheel. So leg is your normal pedestal decorative leg, and your leg leveler is your adjustable leg. So if you just go and search here on top for leg,
It shows you all the different legs.
now we don't really have
Much.
a lot, because most of the times your legs are anywhere behind a kick plate, so you don't see them in the renders and such. But I'll show you how to create the legs as well in CABINETVISION, so you can bring in decorative legs if you want to and such. So for leg, I'm going to add this pedestal leg. Just going to drag and drop it onto leg. Leg leveler, you'll see there's a 150mm cabinet leg and a 100mm cabinet leg. Those are leg levelers. So I'm just going to, what height's your toe kicks normally?
You must stick to the standard 150 for now.
50. We can just drag and drop the 150 onto the leg leveler. And then we can go and search for wheel. You'll see there's a wheel 100mm that we can just drag and drop onto the wheel. Right. So finished is your kick plate aluminiums. So if we go and search for ALU, it should be here. There we go. Just scroll down a bit, then you'll see there's a kick plate alu 100mm and a kick plate alu 150mm. Got it.
Yeah.
You can just drag the 100mm for the 100mm and the 150 for the 150mm.
Okay.
And then kick plate wood we could just leave as training 16mm. And then structural we can also just leave as training 16mm. And that's it. That's the material schedule. So what this now does is, once you create your job and you assign this material schedule now in your job, your construction method is going to work in correlation with this to assign the correct materials to every single part. So your left finished will get what the material that's here, your adjustable shelves will get the material that's here, and so forth and so forth.
Okay.
To create an exposed material schedule is incredibly easy. Once again, we don't have to create the whole thing brand new. We can copy and paste. Because this is already correctly set up, the only difference between your standard material schedule and your exposed material schedule is the interior material. So instead of having white melamine, it'll have the finished color, and your banding just needs to change.
Okay.
So all we do there is we can just make sure that you're in the schedule. You go ahead here on top and say copy.
Yeah.
Automatically creates a copy of your schedule. On the left, we can just go and rename it to whatever it is and just add a EXP at the end. All I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my banding.
Okay.
Just remove your filters on your right for your material manager. And you go to where your edge banding is saved under your training folder.
Okay.
And then the training banding 1 millimeter, the same, or actually we don't even need to do that. On your interior edging underneath banding.
Okay.
Just right click on it and say match parent material.
So right click on the interior
And say match parent material.
match parent material.
Then it changes the interior edging automatically. So even in your carcasses, if you have interior edging assigned to a part, it'll change it over to the correct material if it's set as an exposed unit. And then underneath case, underneath on the interior, we need to go and change this material to the training 16 millimeter sheet. So we can just go and find it here in our catalog on the right, under Sheetgood, training.
Yeah.
And then that's training 16 millimeter sheet that we created. We can just drag and drop onto interior. Right there on into interior.
So this is on the case.
Yes, case interior.
Case interior.
No, otherwise it's going to keep it as white.
Correct.
Changing.
Now you'll see it only changes the stuff that was white melamine. The glass is still there. The single face 3 millimeter for the back is still there. It just changed everything that was the white melamine. And that's an exposed material schedule. It's simple, straightforward. You can create your standard one first, make a copy of it, and just change the two things like that. Then you have your standard and your exposed material schedule. All right. You guys understand that?
Yeah, I think we'll have to do it a few times, but I do understand the concept.
All right. So it's very easy. You just check what the part is and you can find the correct material in the material manager and just assign.
It's just a matter of remembering what to do, when to do. Yeah.
Luckily, that's why I give you the videos.
Yeah.
Right. So what we now need to do is a door material schedule. Door material schedules are actually very easy. They work exactly the same. They're actually just a lot easier. Oh, thanks so much. It's a lot less information that you need to put in because with a cabinet you have all the different parts. A door is just a slab panel, maybe has a frame and the edge.
Let's get it.
Kind of mad, I forgot my water at home.
I'm gonna finish this one. Actually, 2 a day.
I have a 2-liter bottle
Yeah.
that I need to finish today.
Yeah.
No, my wife's gonna kick my ass when I get home. No, I drink a lot of water during the day. Right, so for the door schedules, we can go here on top where our drop down for assembly. Oh, good. Alec, do you guys normally take your lunch? Right, so we usually take it from 12 to 1.
Okay.
Which should work out perfectly because we just need, then we can do the door material schedules quickly and then, no, we're still perfectly on time. Right, so I'm going to go here to the top drop down and then I'm going to select door.
sorry, let me go back. So come out of where? Let me drop in assemblies, assembly, and say door. Okay.
So there is where we create our door material schedules. So once again, there is a, I'm just going to delete this, I don't need that. There's a material schedule for every single material in Cabinet Vision. Now, here we don't have to create a standard and an exposed or anything. It's just a standard material schedule because it's always going to be exposed colors or the color that the specific color that you want on the door. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say new on the top corner left. Creates me a new material schedule. And then for name, I'm just going to call that training schedule, door schedule actually. Now, you'll see you have a few more options here as well.
The description on the left-hand side.
Yes,
Maybe it's upcharge. Oh, okay.
there's buyout, cost for door, cost square meter, minimum cost and band. You have those options.
I see. Okay.
Right. So upcharge works the same if you want to upcharge this material schedule. Buyout, this is quite nice. If you select buyout here, it won't add, if you use this material schedule on your door, it won't add the door to material costs and everything to your bid center. It'll have an option there that says buyout for this door, that's the cost. Because then you can add, if you say they buyout, it means you buy this door pre-built, pre-made, pre-machined, everything from an outside supplier. And then you just add the cost there for the door that you pay for it, or the cost per square meter if they charge it per square meter, and then the minimum cost as well. So that's just for buyout doors. If it's not a buyout door, you can just skip those over. Banding, this is an incredibly important thing here. For your template doors, your wrap doors, you never add banding onto it because it gets a wrap around it after the grooving and everything has been done. So for the template doors and the wrap doors and such in Cabinet Vision, we usually create their own separate material schedules because it's usually just an MDF panel and then it gets the colored wrap around it. For those, this banding needs to say no. Otherwise, it's going to completely throw out your edge grooves and such if you add edge grooving or profiles and such around the edge on the edge of that door. So for template doors, that needs to be off. I'm going to come back to this later when we create the doors as well. But for now, you can just say banding yes. What that then does is it allows banding on the door. If it's no, it will not add banding to the door. Right. So here, there's not a lot of options. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my catalog here at the bottom. I'm going to go to Sheetgood. I'm going to take my training 19mm sheet. Okay. All right. Drag and drop it onto door. Change everything underneath. Right. Then I'm going to go to my edging folder. And I'm going to find the training banding 2mm. I'm going to take the training banding 2mm and I'm going to drop it on top of band. Just one banding, just for the door edge banding. That's all there is. Right. You can assign veneer banding as well if you need to, but we're not going to use it on this construction. So I'm just going to right click on that and say remove material. And most of this is now going to be just the training 19mm sheet. But we still got to go through because there is a few things here that needs to change. So bottom rail, left style, mid rail, mid style, right style, top rail. That's for your multi-piece doors. If it has a top rail, your multi-piece with your inset slabs and such, that's all going to be training 19mm. That's fine. Molding we can leave as training 19mm. And then here by panel, door flat panel, training 19mm is correct. Your glass panel, that needs to get a glass material. So I'm just going to search here on the right top for glass. and I'm just going to use the smoke glass 3mm, and I'm going to drag and drop that onto the door glass panel. Right, horizontal slats, raised panel, shaker panel. We can actually, do you guys have that door shaker panel option? That's not a problem. Door slab, door vertical slats, MDF slab for glass doors. Okay, you won't have that one on.
Well, you got door slats and you got vertical slats.
Yes. Now the others is custom stuff that I had to add, but I'm going to give this to you as well because it is quite useful, especially for highly customized doors and such. So for instance, this MDF slab for glass doors is so in cabinet vision, if you do a glass inset door, you have to do it a multi-piece. We have a client that does a solid piece of wood with a glass inset from the back. That's for enable to do that. It's something we had to do, man. Yes. All right. And that's a door material schedule. That's simple, straightforward. It's not so tricky and complicated as the standard material schedules for your assemblies. It's not as many options and such. And that's all you need to do for that. All right. With me with that one. All right. So that's it for the materials and the material schedules. We are going to come back to this a little bit later if we have some time, because I would like to run through with just the hinges and such, if you guys want to. But we are coming back to the materials as well, because we need to go through the connections, the connector materials and such. And we're still going to do quite a few things there when we're busy with assembly and connector. So materials and material schedules are done. And we're perfectly on time. So the next one that we're going to be covering is connections and construction methods. Connections and construction methods, it's honestly not difficult. It's simple, straightforward. It's especially the assembly manager. It's like writing an exam. It's going to ask you a question and you're just going to, that's pretty much all it is. But before we even get to this, we need to go and assign or create our connection methods. The reason why is because in your assembly, when we set it up, it's going to ask us here how every part connects to every other part and what connection it uses. So it's good to have the connection preset up so that we can just assign it when we get to that point. So what I think we can start with now, while we still have a few minutes left, is let's check if we can create that model quickly for that overview. So I'm going to just